Sparkles.
I do too. Well, welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us. It's like our second series, our second webinar series. I'm really trying to manifest a podcast with Miss Megan next year, putting that on our 2026 calendar wish list. So we had so much fun last time we were here, but we wanted to talk a little bit more about our partnership and about special editions. And I think this one's going to tell you how you can implement it more so in your business and why it matters for your business. Meg, do you want to chat a little bit about your side of things?
Yeah, whether you're planning your custom edition or scaling up for a larger launch, this training is going to help you understand the tools, the timelines, and the best practices to make it, smooth and profitable.
Profitable. That's right. The margins.
And I would like to apologize just right off the bat that I do have a toddler and the babysitter canceled. So if you hear screaming in the background, that is that. I promise everything is safe here, but I can hear them fussing, so I apologize.
And I just want to let you know if there is screaming in my background, call 911 because I'm here alone. So that at least we have safety rules set in advance.
We have safety rules. Alrighty. Well, we can go ahead and get started. Let's go to what to expect today. If you tuned in for the last one, we'll kind of talk a little bit again about it, but our partnership overview. So how Beventi and INKfluence work together to empower authors, right? Because that's why we're here. We're going to go over creative meets strategy. So how design decisions can influence your cost, your pricing, and reader perception. We're also going to do a building your edition plan using the Beventi cost calculator.
Our favorite.
Yes, we love it. And it's going to help you create a predictable financial model for planning things. And then the business of Luxe editions, which is understanding margins, timelines, and funding strategies. And then at the end, we'll do a Q&A. Sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great. And then thank you. We've got a couple, we have about 5 questions that were emailed in. So we always love when you guys do that. So I will be the voice of you, those that couldn't make it today, and I'll ask those at the end as well.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Let's hope the PowerPoint works this time and goes all the way through. That was just something.
I know, but we made it work. We made it work.
That's correct.
So what we do together, so Beventi provides the pre-order tools, the fulfillment workflows, direct sales, and we offer virtual signing platforms and a marketplace visibility. And then you can talk about what INKfluence provides.
At INKfluence, we can provide everything from the design. So that is something that I love that was built on the Beventi platform. If you're looking for special edition design help, we can help you with that. We're agnostic though. If you already have your designs, that's awesome. We'll do the printing and help get your books to a fulfillment center or to your own warehouse or to your home in your second bedroom, wherever you need them to go. So we take care of all of the fun stuff, all the printing. And why this partnership matters. Well, our partnership removes the guesswork. Authors get clearer pricing, smarter planning tools, and a smoother production process. I know that there are some other sites that you can order books on. I've done it as well. I'm an author, Meg's an author. But this is the only site that I've seen that runs so smoothly from start to finish, allowing you for so many different special edition features. Never seen one like it. And I've never seen a user-friendly experience in a software like I have in this one. It's very intuitive. So, and if you don't know, what's also great is there's a messaging app where you can talk to somebody almost 24/7. We do sleep on the weekends.
Yes. So that is our partnership. If we want to go ahead and go to the next slide, Dana, thank you for being flexible there. So, as you guys know, design is not just artistic expression, it's a strategic business decision, right? So each upgrade you choose affects your margin, your production, and the perceived value of your edition. So today we're going to obviously break down like the different upgrades there are, how to balance aesthetics and profitability, and also aligning your creative vision with the budget for what you have, right?
Yeah. And I think what's nice about all of this is that there is a price point for every person
Hmm.
and a place for you and in the special edition design arena. So yeah, let's chat a little bit more about that. Oh, perfect. Choosing the right levels. So you've got your standard editions, and this is great for early testing. Obviously, it's a lower cost, faster turnaround, minimal risk. And that's especially when you're getting started or you're not ready for it. It is a great way to test your market and to see what your followers and readers want. But when you do talk to them and you ask them, and we absolutely here at the Influence tell you, poll your clients. This is a great way to get engagement. Like, what are you guys looking for? Do you like sprayed edges? Would you like a ribbon bookmark? Like asking them for the questions that brings them into the conversation and makes them feel a part of it. So that next tier is your special edition. Foil on the hardcover, decorated edges, and your edges could be foil. They can be an illustrated edge. They can be one color. I will say that the most request we get and what we've seen for consumer behavior is a decorated edge with some kind of design on it. That creates a higher perceived value. And of course, I like to talk about margins all day long, but your third one is your Ultra-Luxe edition. And this is when we can really get into some fun stuff. You've got slip cases, dust jackets with foil on them, reversible dust jackets. And I love reversible dust jackets. I've seen them done two different ways. And I think it's important to point this out. You can do a reversible dust jacket where you have all of the text and the font from your front on the back as well. So it can truly be reversed to whatever the recipient wants the cover to actually be. But it also is a great landscape for artwork, character art in the last, and Meg, I'd love to know your opinion, but in our opinion and what we've seen in the last year has exponentially grown. Have you seen that too, like at different events?
Yeah, character art has taken off in a way that we were not really anticipating. We actually have quite a few artists on the Beventi
Yeah.
platform, and all they do is sell character art because there is such a high demand for it. Readers are really, really loving being able to collect different art, different scenes from their books. I mean,
Yeah.
it's booming in a way that we never and like would have anticipated. So that is a huge, huge, huge market right now.
And I love repurposing that art. Sometimes we have authors that come to us and they're like, I really want to do all the bells and whistles, but like I don't know if A, I have the time to get all this design done, or B, the funds. So I'm like, well, what do you have? Like, do you have any artwork that you've been using, like scene art or character prints? And they're like, well, yeah. I'm like, give us that. We'll create like a larger background so that we can cover an end paper or a dust jacket. So there's a lot of ways that you can repurpose art that you're already using and handing out for these different things, like the insert, like a vellum insert, art pages, having art gloss pages inside the book, like stick them in there. That gives a much higher perceived value. The idea is that you want to focus on what collectors are looking to put on their bookshelves and video. We are looking for the unboxers because the more your collectors are excited and engaged and feel immersed in this world, the more they become walking billboards of your brand and your business. So
Absolutely.
I love that. Each tier serves a different goal, different purpose, and choosing intentionally is very important to maximizing profit.
Yes. Um, so cost is your foundation, obviously, and every upgrade is going to affect your margin and your production timeline. And so premium finishes raise both the production and the customer facing costs, and they add meaningful value when they enhance the product's perceived worth. So the goal is not to make the cheapest edition. You want to design an edition that is going to increase the value and drive those collectors to come want to get it. You want the strongest margin. And so pricing it, with all the information is the most important thing. Sorry, I was reading the slide and I got distracted, but um,
And I was going to say, like, I think that's great too for production timelines. If you're looking to do a slipcase or you're looking to do like a cutout dust jacket or something or leather, like a cloth or leather, that does add a little bit to the production time. Anything else, ever like foil or spot gloss or sprayed edges, that's all going to be within that 30-day time frame. But slipcases can't actually be sized appropriately until the books are actually completed and they can put them in there. So it's
Wow, I
really,
didn't know that.
yeah, it's really important we do it that way because as many times as you can measure the widths, there has to be an exact fit for a slipcase because you want that snug tightness so that there's no billowing. So, and we're one of the things that we're really passionate about at the Influence is making sure that everything is high quality and that you have a lot of quality check so that we're not having billowing or dings or anything like that because we haven't sized it correctly. The same thing with like a cutout dust jacket. Cutout dust jackets have to go through two machines. So if there's something like you have a second machine that it has to run through, you're talking about adding some time on it. And then the other thing that will add time, I think the only other thing that will add time is boxes. So something that I don't know if everyone knows, a custom box actually has to dry and set. So those take an additional time as well. Other than that, everything else is under 30 days. So it's just to kind of give you an idea of the things that will take longer: slipcases, custom cutout dust jackets, and then custom boxes because they have to dry.
Wow, that's actually very interesting to learn. I didn't realize it all had to dry individually. I love the little like knowledge nuggets that you just drop, and I'm like, wow, it's really cool what goes into all these things.
Oh,
It's fun to
it,
learn.
it's so fun to learn. I just wish they would dry faster. I send really funny emails to our factory people saying, "Get your hair dryers out, kids. We need this to ship." They don't use hair dryers on these guys. I'm kidding. But in my head, I'm like, how could you make it dry faster? Let's go, let's go.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it's just kind of some things to keep in mind when you're looking to do. And we'll be adding some swag and boxes soon. So that'll be another thing you guys can order.
Very exciting. Okay, so pricing is a message, right? So a high price sends a signal of luxury and rarity and collectability. And sometimes a lower price actually signals almost a mass market intention. So readers interpret these prices as indicators of collectability, right? So what we really want to encourage you guys is confident pricing because it builds trust and it's going to position your edition as a premium collectible. So we really encourage confident pricing with that. And with the Beventi calculator, little plug right there, we help you price confidently. Did you like that little
I liked that
that
plug. That was
little
great. John, give her a raise. Give her a raise. Something I'd love to piggyback on that too is you see all these, I'll use book box companies as an example. Like you see all these different book box companies and see the one for $19 and then you see the one for 65 and you're like, what's the difference?
Mm,
Right? So like most people actually emotionally go with the higher priced one or the middle tier because they feel the low ones, there's got to be something wrong with it. So you
right.
also want to be in the minds of your consumers and making sure that you're adhering to what consumer behavior produces. And that mindset is a really big deal. I do it with clothes. Sometimes I see something on Amazon, I'm like, I can't get it there because it's too cheap. It's probably going to itch. And then I buy the same thing in a boutique down the street from where I live. So it's a perception of buying behavior. Also, too, you're hurting the market, right? We want to make sure that we're pricing our books what market retail value is for special editions. And I think that's really important because one of the things I love the most about publishing industry is that we are a community. This is like, we're not competitors. We're like, oh my God, you read Meg's book, you're gonna love Dana's book, right? Maybe not really, because I think Megan writes a little bit spicier than I do, but maybe you're like, oh, well, dip your toe in Dana's water and then just go naked, skinny dipping into Meg's pool. This is getting weird. But my point is that like we're here to elevate each other. And one of the things that is a detriment to our industry is when people start pricing really low because they think they're going to sell more, and it actually has the opposite effect.
Yes, that's a very, very, very good point. Um, so my favorite part, I'm so excited. The Beventi cost calculator allows you to test variables in real time. So, which is incredible. It helps you understand how unit cost changes at different quantities, how each premium upgrade affects your total spend. So what we're actually going to do is use a 300 copy scenario to demonstrate how like small choices can significantly affect your margins, which is so exciting for us. Yeah. So um, here for this one, okay, sorry. Once your format is set, here's what the calculator is going to show on the right-hand side of the screen. So for this example, we did a 5.5 by 8.5. It has 250 pages, and we're looking at 300 copies. So we're going to create a predictable financial plan. And it's incredibly important when you're projecting what you want to do, where you're going to price, and what your ROI is going to be. If you want to go to the next one. So these are all examples of add-ons that INKfluence has. Would you like to talk about those, Dana?
Yeah, if you want to add foil onto your cover, or you want to add foil onto your dust jacket, reversible dust jacket, something that I don't see a lot of, but when I see it, I know fans go batty over it. The reverse side of your dust jacket can have foil too. So you're talking about double-sided foil, which
Oh,
is
wow.
really great. And the other thing that people don't take advantage of is you don't have to stay with the same color. Maybe you have red on the front side of your dust jacket and the back side has silver foil. This is a great way to add, like we were talking about, if you've got other artwork or there's other scenes or there's other things that you wanted to do. Or if you were like totally between taking a red and a silver foil on your front cover, switch it up and use the other foil on the back cover. So it doesn't change the pricing to have multiple foil colors on each side because it has to run through the machine once. So it doesn't really matter, and then it flips and it runs through the other side as well.
I
I
love
love that one.
that.
And the decorated edges, we talked about that, whether that's from foil or a design or one color. And then the thing that I tell all of the people who ask me is like, what do you feel about full color end papers? I feel like when you have this gorgeous special edition in your hand and you open it up and it's just white, it's sad.
Yeah.
So I'm like, don't be sad. Add for 72 cents something that's just elevated your entire project, right? So it's going to add so much more value. Something else that people do too, you don't have to have this like lavish, exorbitant design on the inside. It could just be a color, or it could just be a color and a quote, or a color and like a frame
Mhm.
around it with a quote, or maybe that's where you put a little note, right? It's a color with a little handwritten note on it, and we put that in there. There's lots of ways that you can make this a more special version of your book by doing something on that. So the other thing that I think is really great too, ribbon bookmarks. They're very inexpensive to add, but they add a high cost on it. I also see them more with fantasy,
Mhm.
romantasy. I think that I don't think they're necessarily genre specific, but dark romance, I don't think they're as necessary. I definitely, if you've got cozy romance or maybe a sweet romance, we were talking about cowboy love earlier, anything like that, I think they'd be really cool too. So all of these features, they add value to your product, which makes you have the ability to add value to that price point.
I love it. Okay, so here is just an example that we put together so you have some concrete, tangible evidence of what these added features are going to add to your margin. So this one is a 6x9 hardcover. It's 250 pages. And so the upgrades were the cover foil, the dust jacket, decorated edges, full color end papers, and ribbons. So obviously, this is like a luxe edition. This is like, full features, one of those collector's items that make readers go, wild for. And we calculate the unit cost, which is $12.73, right? The recommended retail. Now, this is just what we are recommending for the 250 page for in the interest of our just example here was $55 to $65. but I want you to take a really good look at that margin. That
Mhm.
is wild. And I love, so Dana likes to tell the story. She told it at our last webinar about a book signing she went to. I don't know if you want to briefly tell it now,
Sure.
but it's
I
it
think,
I love it. And there might be some new people on here today.
and it's a good case study to hear
It really
again.
is.
I almost only sell special editions at my booth, and my special editions are 55. And I sold about 90 or 100 books at the event that I was at. And the person next to me, I'm very good friends with, she had mentioned what she had sold. It was like 120. And then I told her what I made. And it was like $3,700. And she had made 1,500. Same energy, same time, same
Mhm.
hotel fee. Um, right? So the
Yeah.
output, but the margin that I received back was so much higher. And yeah, her books probably had a net unit cost that was a little bit lower than mine, but not enough to make it significant. Even if she had done 2,000 or 2,500, I'm still over a grand more in profit than her. And again, less people, but the same output. So those margins are really amazing and they're going to feed into your company. Something
Right.
else that I wanted to mention, Meg, that I don't even think we've ever talked about, but I saw the um, italicized information you had at the bottom. I'm just going to read it and then I'll tell you why I want to mention this. Best for limited run editions, numbered editions, high demand audience willing to pay for artistry. That numbered edition. So there's two ways you can do this. And one of them doesn't take like any additional money. You can do numbered editions on your title page where it says limited editions, copy, and you just have like a little line of 500. And then when you're signing them, you put in that number up there. There's no additional fee. If you have variable printing where the factory is actually putting the number in, which can be done, it is quite expensive. If you're signing these and sending them out, then I say don't even worry about it. Get that in there. Like I've only limited run. Only done 500. This is one of 500 and tell them like, hey, the sooner you order on Beventi, you get a higher number. Now you've incentivized them to order sooner because you're going to do it in the, list and the way that it came in sequential order. So I love that you added that numbered edition down there because it doesn't have to be an additional ad for you price point wise. You could do it manually while you're signing them.
And I know I wanted to touch on this, and Dana, you can engage or like let me know if I'm on the right track.
Oh
Sometimes
yeah.
in talking to some authors, they see that retail price of 55 to 65 and they're like, well, we all have imposter syndrome sometimes, right? And we're like, yeah, but would people be willing to, pay that, but I wanted to reiterate that we're in a time where there's like a culture of collectability and
Oh,
artistry and readers are buying these special editions without even sometimes knowing what the book is about or sometimes even who the author is. I've gone to signings where they're like, who are you, but this book is beautiful and that's what I want. And on Beventi's side, the data supports that special editions are what is really driving a lot of sales right now.
yes.
Readers are willing to pay these price points for the artistry because so don't be intimidated when you see that higher price point and don't let your what was the phrase I just used, my brain just went dead from
I
that.
don't know. You are so good with phrases. I don't know which one you want.
No, it's okay, imposter syndrome.
Oh,
Think,
imposter syndrome.
don't
Yes.
let the imposter syndrome win because the readers are willing to pay this amount
Yeah.
for these upgraded luxe editions. It's working very well for a lot of authors.
We have an author client that sells every single special edition book she sells at $110.
Oh, I love it.
Uh-huh. I'm
Go
not gonna tell you
girl.
what the price point is, but you're seeing margins here. So it's really, and she sells them all day long. It's really about your fan base and
Hmm.
how you feel most comfortable. Of course, we want you to price out where you feel most comfortable, but we also want you to be very, very educated. So go on Beventi, look at other people's special editions. Like the information is right there for you. Go on to Kickstarter, look what people are selling it on there. I mentioned this on the last one, but I'm going to mention it again now. The average cost on Kickstarter for a single reward tier is $65.
Mm.
That's wild, right? Because there's a lot of people that are also doing not special editions, maybe audiobooks or maybe just a regular new content or whatever, maybe a launch. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a special edition book, but that median price point is 65. So that's what you want to pay attention to is what are market trends, what makes sense in the industry. And you can always use my story. I'm not a big author, so the fact that I'm able to sell so much has a lot to do with the fact that I sell special editions.
And your special editions are so beautiful. They're just
It's so
gorgeous.
nice to touch.
They really are.
The soft touch, guys, it's I can't soft touch is such a great material to use. I absolutely
It
love
is. It is. It's beautiful. Okay, so um your edition plan. So like when you're planning out your launch of a book, what you're doing, it needs to include these things, okay? You need to have a pricing strategy. So you need to do what Dana just selected or just discussed. You need to go to Beventi, see what other authors are pricing similar special editions at. You need to go to Kickstarter and look at that. You need to research and use the Beventi calculator to see what your base cost is going to be and then calculate different margins and shipping and things like that. You also should have a pre-order target that covers all your cost. So you need to have goals for your pre-order strategy and then develop your marketing strategy around what that pre-order target is. And we're going to talk about different things for that too. You also need to talk with INKfluence and have a realistic fulfillment timeline so that you can communicate with your customers or your readers when that's going to happen. And then INKfluence is so amazing at this. The key checkpoints for proofs and approvals, they are so methodical and detailed and wonderful. Like when you hear their system and when you work with them, they truly go step by step and you always know what's happening each point, and those checkpoints are just seamless because their team works so well to keep you informed, so well to let you know what's going on so that you're doing what you need to do. Also, I just wanted to hype y'all up for just a minute.
So sweet. Okay. And something else that you just kind of briefly went over is the marketing. So if you place an order on Beventi as a free service we're going to give to you that we don't do outside of Beventi, we'll give you virtuals for your books. Once we have your artwork and you've placed the order, or you've given us yeah, we have to place the order, get it, given us the order, we'll make all those virtuals in any style fashion that you need so that you can add them to your website, to maybe a mailer, to whatever you need them for, your ads. So that's nice too, because you have to pay somebody to get your virtuals. And we do it like 8 to 10 different ways. However that book baby can look, we'll make sure that it looks that way.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so we're going to talk about funding and launch strategies. So, a lot of people get kind of intimidated about fronting money, right, for their special editions. But actually, guys, most of these Luxe editions are fully funded before the print invoices due because people run really successful pre-order campaigns. So, obviously, I'm with Beventi. So I'm going to talk about Beventi today, but whatever choice you make for pre-orders for these, the key is choosing launch platforms that convert, right? And you also want to expose your special editions to the right audience of collectors. Okay. So obviously we love Beventi here. One thing that I don't think people truly have like wrapped their head around, um, Beventi's marketplace is made up of highly engaged, active book buyers. People, that is your target market. All of the collectors that you are trying to sell to, chances are they've been on Beventi. They go to Beventi actively looking for these collector drops. And I just wanted to share some numbers with you guys. So we have 5.5 thousand authors, and we love all of our authors. We have,
Woo!
yes, we have 55,000 registered readers, but 100 plus thousand monthly visitors. So registered readers are people who've created accounts. And since we started, we have 14 million in revenue. So of authors like you guys selling books on our platform. And so
That's
it
incredible. And I bet you a lot of that 14 million is special editions.
Oh, absolutely. A big chunk of it is special editions. We can see who's searching for different tags on our site, and special edition is one of the top searches because if you're familiar with our platform, you can label your books with different tags like signing edition, this kind of thing, and special edition is searched a lot. It is one of the highest performing searches on there. But if you think of anything, Beventi is your target audience. It's like, it's like when you're making those Facebook ads and you're looking at lookalike audiences, everything. Well, the entire audience is on Beventi right now. Those are your buyers, those are your collectors for these Luxe editions.
And think of all the extra eyeballs you get when somebody is like, oh, I'm going to Love LitCon in San Diego on the 13th through 15th, and Meg and I will be there. But like think about that, and somebody will go to that event to see what their authors are there that they're, interested in getting pre-orders from. They also then go shop and like, what's an author that I haven't read before? And then when they get to your shop, what's going to be the difference between you and somebody else? Well, if you're offering a special edition in your pre-orders and they've never read you before, you're getting new eyeballs on there, and that's probably going to incentivize them to purchase because they're like, well, hey, I'm going to give them a shot because I'm also getting this beautiful book that's going to live on my shelf. So there's a lot of reasons why being a part of these events and being on the platform gives you a ton of extra exposure that you'd never be able to find anywhere else.
Yes, we love it. We love it. Another thing about Beventi is it's very community focused. And if you've been on our platform, you've seen it too. But we implemented this feature of followers. So readers on Beventi can follow you and then they get notified about future releases. I actually just checked the data a couple days ago and we have a 69% open rate on our
That's
notifications. So every time you upload a pre-order, every time you're, doing a special edition, your followers are getting a notification sent to their inbox and it's a notification they're opening because Beventi is so community based. So every launch that you're doing, every, special edition you're putting up there, it grows your long-term audience. So it's not just this one-time campaign and then you kind of lose everyone. It's over time they will continue to subscribe to your notifications, and every time you have an event or a new Luxe edition launch, your followers are going to be notified of it and it converts very well.
That's really, really neat. I follow a bunch of our clients, and every time I see where they're going to, I go to that event and then I start looking at everyone's pre-orders. So it's even addicting on my ends.
So your edition when placed on Beventi is going to get organic visibility. Like this is what we talked about. The collectors are on Beventi. Your target audience is on um, Beventi, but there's other organic visibility that you're going to get. You're going to get category browsing. So, we talked about cowboy romances earlier. You can label your books as different tags. So those cowboy romance readers can search for your genre and your trope. We also have trending sections and features. And it just gives you marketplace placement that you wouldn't find anywhere else. So your book becomes part of this like curated environment that is focused entirely on the books that you're selling, which is so important for getting the word out there, for getting your marketing out there for these Luxe editions.
And I think you're building your brand on there. You're
Yeah.
building, sustainability.
Okay. And then also, every pre order drives additional traffic to your storefront. So every time you're going to a signing and you upload a pre order, it's always going to drive people to you, right? Because all the people who are RSVP'd to those events are getting push notifications that you're going to be signing there. So a reader will RSVP to an event, you put your pre-order up, and then all those people who have RSVP'd to that event are then finding out about you. So it increases your follower account. You have readers that look at your special editions and then they're adding it to their wish list or add to cart. Um, and actually, we're seeing a large rise. The data supports that there is a large returning customer rate. So a lot of people, because they're getting notified of other signings you're going to, other events that you're doing, virtual signings, little sales, there is a lot of repeat customers. So, and there's a lot of cross sell potential. So, like if you do a Luxe edition on one book, right, and then the sequel releases, 4 or 5 months later, and you're doing a Luxe edition and you upload it to Beventi, all of your followers, all of those people are then getting that purchase that are, they're also getting a notification. So it's keeping them in constant communication. And these readers are opening these emails because, again, they're collectors and that's what they love. They love these special editions. It's a long-term sales ecosystem. Do you like
Oh,
that? Do you
I
like that
love
saying?
that. Yeah.
It just came to
Came
me.
to you.
It did. I was like, oh, that's good. I'm gonna write a little note to remember that for any future things.
Coin that term.
There we go. Do you want to go over this one?
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
So pre-orders as production funding. So structuring your pre-orders to cover costs of everything. So printing costs, freight, packaging, and fulfillment, a buffer for extras or errors. So there's a ton of ways that you can do this too. I think I obviously on Beventi is our first choice and the choice that you should, but there's other ways that you can do this. You can do this on your Shopify pages. You
Mhm.
can do this on Kickstarter. There are a lot of ways that you can get the money up front so that you can cover all of these costs. One of the things that I think is really important, and Meg and I were actually talking about this offline earlier today when we were having a little chat, is make sure that you're budgeting correctly when you think about packaging, fulfillment, and shipping, right? So you might get the shipping from INKfluence and maybe you're using a fulfillment company or you're fulfilling it yourself. But like, think about those things. I know this sounds silly. Tape, boxes, um, maybe foam or what are those? The foam peanuts. I don't know if anyone still uses those. How old am I by that? Remember the foam peanuts?
I do. I do.
Okay, is that still a thing, guys? I don't even know.
It
Um,
is. It is.
okay, Woo. we use for omnibuses, and we can do this for anyone's packaging actually, is to have foam wrapped around the books. But if you don't have that, or you're doing a set and we sent that to you in a set, and you're breaking the set up and you're selling those different ways, make sure that you put those costs in. Not that they're exponential, but they do add up, right? The tape, maybe you have your own uh, tape with your logo on it, things like that. You want to make sure that like you're covering all of this in there. So be mindful that it's their printing cost, it's freight, it's packaging, fulfillment, and then obviously you want to have some extras in there for some errors or potential shipments that like got left out in the rain and someone's like, "Hey, I got my stuff and it's just my book's soaked. It was left out in the rain because UPS is a social experiment and they don't know how to put them underneath an awning," which I like literally believe that UPS, DHL, and FedEx are part of a huge conspiracy for social experiment. No, I'm kidding. But the point is anything can happen. We had somebody where the neighbor got a hold of the book and the dog chewed it, you know. So legitimately, I got sent pictures of that. So you want to just have some little extra buffer in there, and that reduces financial risk and absolutely makes you feel more validated before you invest money. Cool.
It's time for
Time
questions.
for questions. So we've got some previously asked questions that we can start with, but if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. We'd love to answer those, and I'll pull up the ones that we already have going. Oh, wait, we've got some that are in here. Do you also do fulfillment straight to readers? So we have an in-house partner. Their name is Laguna Studios. In fact, I'll put them in the chat for you. Amanda, are you still on? I see you on. Amanda, can you throw Laguna into the chat? If she doesn't do it, I'll
Laguna.
add them in there. Okay. So Laguna Studios, the reason we say that they are an in-house partner is because they are integrated into our system. So any order that comes through us that we know you're using Laguna for, they'll get weights and specs and all of the production and shipping details from us. So you don't have to worry about that, which is really nice, right? Everything that you don't want to have any involvement in, we're totally great managing that. However, if you do use a company outside of that, we will provide you the information. You just be the middleman. You can use anyone that you want, but the INKfluence doesn't do fulfillment on our own. I promised my husband many years ago I would never have a fulfillment center. So I'm going to stick to that promise. What's the next one? Yes. Let me make this bigger.
Someone just asked about the 1,500 in free Beventi marketing, so I can go ahead
Oh,
and
yeah. Why don't
off
you
that
get that one?
while you're looking at other ones. So
Yeah.
the free Beventi marketing is part of our new initiative called the Amplify program. So any authors who are using INKfluence and signed up, we right now it's in its pilot stage, and so we're only accepting, I believe, I have to check, but I believe the first 7 authors that place orders with INKfluence, we are offering Amplify to them for free. And Amplify is using all of these lovely visibility tools that Beventi has, and we're going to push your book for you. So we're putting a banner on our website. And as you saw, we get 100,000 views per month. So that's 100,000 eyes on your special edition, which is amazing. Beventi also has a curated list of influencers called Beventi Besties. They go through a very strict onboarding and training process. We do a lot of quality checks and engagement. We have a full-time influencer manager that coordinates all of our influencers. And as part of our Amplify program, the influencers also promote your book for you to get it out, do those lovely unboxings and all of that. We also push you in our newsletter, and we just have other things that we can go into a little more detail once you onboard with the Amplify. Remember, it's still in its pilot stage. But basically, the Amplify program, our goal is to boost your special edition because we do have such what was that phrase? A beautiful ecosystem, a long-term something.
Long-term ecosystem.
Yes.
I love
Um,
it.
and such a curated market of collectors. We wanted to use that to boost these people that are utilizing our INKfluence partnership and get you more visibility so you have the most successful sale possible.
Love that. Kate, great question. Can you briefly explain how foil works? What does the designer have to do? What does the printer do? Yeah, love that. So, foil, how foil works is really it's its own layer. So anything that's being foiled, whether it's an outline of something or if it's your title or maybe it's an element, that needs to be a layer of its own. So you know how when you guys print on KDP or Ingram, another place that I think is doing social experiments with our mindsets. Um, you give them a PDF and it's for everything. So for us and for the printer, what they would need is a PDF of the background without the foil and the foil layer as its own PDF. There is a production guide on the Beventi platform. So if you were to put a quote in or you go online, it will show you, and then you can download, God bless you, you can download the production guide. In fact, Amanda, I don't know if you're still listening, but if you could upload the production guide to here, that would be awesome. I don't have that handy, but that is something you can provide to your designers. It's also something, if you go on Beventi and you message us, we can give you the PDF and you can send it to them as well. One of the other things that we ask you to do is give us the PSD file, because an editable PSD file, because then if for some odd reason your designer didn't do the layering correctly, we'll do it for you. We'll make sure that it's okay, and then we can send it to the printer. What's really important for the printer is making sure that they have a delineation of what is being foiled versus what's being background color so that nothing is overlapped incorrectly. So I hope that answered that, but let me know if you've got anything else and I can go a little bit deeper. Go ahead.
I can take the next question because I
Yeah.
actually have a little tip for you guys. So someone asked, how far in advance of a signing do you recommend putting a pre-order up on Beventi? So I'm of two minds of this because I've seen some authors put their pre-order form up the second they know and they're announced, and they just keep it up for months on months and months and then take it down, at the very last moment. But I have seen a lot of success, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that works really well. But what I've noticed, and it's kind of this strategy of utilizing the Beventi platform and their notifications. Some authors are waiting until there's a higher number of RSVPs to the event because all of those RSVPs are getting a push notification of your, or not push notif, but like an email of your pre-order form. And so a signing event that really pushes RSVPs is Wild and Windy. And so right when a signing event is announced, they push their RSVPs. And so a lot of authors are waiting till the RSVPs is high enough so that they can get a really big push on their pre-order form. So that's a strategy I use. Even when I go to signings, I kind of wait to see how many. I'm like, "Ooh, can we get a little more RSVPs?" And I'll, do it a little bit shorter of a pre-order window. But then that. And then I think you also were asking for the pre-orders for funding a special edition. Am I wrong? Because I think Dana would be a better.
Well, I think it depends, right? So what's a little different with that is if you're using the pre-order to fund your special edition and that pre-order is coinciding with an event date, we've got to work a timeline into that.
Mhm.
So that's the one thing that I would say to be a little bit careful. So I love what Megan said. However, if you have your pre-orders up in advance for 6 months ahead of time, that's going to give you a much better idea of what you're going to need. Because I
Mhm.
will tell you, a lot of times we have authors that come back and they're like, I should have ordered more. I'm now stuck because I've had my pre-order up and I
Mhm.
didn't order enough for the year. So we can set something up where if you do it for 6 months, you're like, I need 500 and that should cover me for 6 months. And then at that 6 months mark, we can set a reminder and then we can message you in the Viventi system and say, hey, I know you've got another 6 months of your signing coming up. Where are you at with inventory? Do you want to do a reorder? That's something we actually do for our clients too. But it is a little bit different with special editions because you're going to have to have that approximately 90 days, more like 75 to 90 days. So I would just say be mindful of your timeline and don't wait till the last minute because your last minute is probably going to be even more of a last minute since we have to still look at artwork.
Mm.
Yeah.
Very.
So we've got a couple of additional questions here. Can I sell my custom editions on Amazon or any other retailer, or are they exclusive to direct sales on Beventi? That's a good question. That's your best platform for doing it. However,
However, yes, you can use other
you
platforms.
can. For Amazon, you'd have to do Amazon fulfillment. It's their FBA. So you'd have to create your own web store, and that is outside of KDP. So that's something that you'd want to look into if you want to do that, but you can. Christy asked in the chat down here, you all mentioned swag options. Can you talk more about that as well? Absolutely. So John, who, if you don't know who he is on this call and the owner of Beventi and just a whiz at coding. One of the things that he and I feel very passionately about is there's no site that you can go on right now and order swag. Like, wouldn't it be great to order your special editions and then add foil stamped bookmarks and sticker sheets and pins and all book box and all of that jazz, right? At one time. And then you
Mhm.
wouldn't have to worry about going to different vendors or different places or having the shipments come at all different times. It's like one stop shopping. So that is something that we're looking to add for the beginning of 2026. It's hard right now with the holidays and it's our busy season. So once things calm down a little bit in January, we're going to try to get all of that uploaded. I think that's going to be amazing. You're going to be able to pick your size box. You're going to be able to decide if you want, 250 pins or 500 pins or a pin set on a card. There's going to be a lot of different options for you guys there. It's going to be great, right?
Yes,
Yes.
so exciting.
In the meantime, if you do have any swag that you need before it's up on the Beventi, you could just send us an email. We do that. We also have pricing for swag on our website. So if you are interested to see what pricing look like, it is under merch, and then it will say merch pricing, and you can see it there. And can you tell me how many special editions you recommend for how many books a year? I ask what kind of revenue are we talking about annually? So, I mean, I'll answer the first one and then I'll answer the second one. So, how many do I recommend a year? I think that's really up to you. I don't know how many books you have out either. So, you could be really pushing your backlist. So, like a best-selling backlist that you haven't, had like a lot of traction on recently, or you have a lot of traction on and you're like, it's starting to slow down. So, you're like, let me get a new cover in there because all my loyalists are going to come right back and buy the new one. That could be an incentive to do that. You could also be closing out a series, and I would do that whole series. That could be really great. Another thing is you can combine and do an omnibus. And then this way you have a duet or you have a trilogy, and now you put it into one, and that creates a different SKU. So I think that there's a lot of ways that you can do this. I don't think that there's a science or a formula that can tell you what you need to be doing. I've only written 11 books, and I have a special edition for every book I've ever written. Some I have 2 or 3 special editions for. I'm an extremist. I happen to love special editions. You could have written 3 books and had all special editions for all of them. You could have written 80 books. Probably wouldn't suggest having 3 different special editions for 80 books. Or do it, and then you have that many more SKUs. So I think that's a subjective thing. I would say have more than one, though, like have at least a line of special editions. If you have 10 books, maybe have 3 of those books have special editions. Maybe they're the first book in all your series. And then you can test the waters on how that sells and what you want to do with the rest of the series. So that's a subjective opinion, though. I really want you to think about budgeting and think about what makes the most sense for your business model. The other thing that I'll leave you with that I think is amazing is poll your buyers, poll your audience, write them and say, thinking about doing 2 special editions. If you had your pick of all the books that I've written, what are the 2 that you want to see the most of? And then see what kind of responses. Even if you got 10 responses, that's 10 people voicing their opinion, and it might be very different than your own opinion.
Mm.
And then what kind of revenue are we talking about annually? So that's hard too. We've got authors who will have their special editions at 50 or 55, which is on the lower end. And then we've got authors who are more towards that 85 price point. So it also depends on like what are you ordering? How many are you doing? So a great example could be that what Meg showed us as the $40 for 300 books. And what was that, like around 12,000 in
Hmm.
profit. So if you did 3 of those, that's 36,000 in profit. If you do 10, you just keep adding that. So it really depends on what you're looking to do. It also depends on what your sales pace is. I don't know how fast you turn and churn. So like if you're selling a couple hundred books a month, that's very different than selling a couple 1,000 books a month. So that's going to affect the overall answer to that as well. So I don't have the best answer for you because it's super subjective, but the margins are there. You're going to make more money with special editions than you will with anything else. Yeah. But great questions, guys. These are awesome. Um, what happens if my pre-order demand exceeds the planned print run? Can I increase the quantity after uh, launch onto the Beventi site, launch on my website, or a launch on a third-party site? Once you place the order, that's that's it, because they order the material. When I say they, I mean factories. Factories order the material at the time of your order, which is why a 300-piece order is very different than a 600-piece order. There's a vastly different amount of numbers there because they have to order the materials. That's why you're getting all the discounts when you do a higher quantity. So if you do have to add to it, it's going to be a new order. Now, if it's within 24 to 72 hours of your order, I'm sure we can figure something out. It's if you're like a week into your order and you realize that you're hitting more numbers to your pre-launch than you expected, which by the way happens all the time. I would say that's going to be when it's a little bit more difficult to get you the value that we'd want to get you. But that's a really good question. If I have a event pre-order, or if I'm using the Beventi site, can I run ads to the site, and do you allow pixels? I don't know anything about that. So Meg, that's for you.
I apologize. My children are getting feral. Can you please repeat that question? I apologize.
I'll summarize it for you. If you have a pre-order on Beventi, or you're using Beventi as your sales page, can you run ads? And if so, can you have a pixel?
No pixels yet. John just said that's coming early 2026.
Awesome. Like January or February early, John?
He's like, don't put me on a
Don't
timeline.
put me on pressure. All right, we'll just say February and keep it that. Okay, February. We said the same thing. Cool.
Good
February.
job.
But you can run ads. They could still run ads. They just won't be able to track them. Is that correct?
We'll let John
Oh,
answer because
correct.
that's a John question.
That was a great question, by the way. I actually love
That
that
was.
question. Um, should I survey? We kind of went over this. Should I survey my readers first? And what questions should I ask to gauge demand or preferred features? So I did go over this a couple times, but I do love the idea of surveying multiple things. If you can do a Google sheet, people actually love doing that. So you could just say like, please fill out this form and let me know. If so, I'll give you an early read to my ex. Yeah, tell.
Actually, so one of my friends, Flowdesk as a newsletter, they actually
Oh,
let you put polls in your newsletters now. And so you can put a poll in your newsletter, and it's a really good way to survey your like people who literally follow you because they love you. And so I like things like that or your reader group too.
I love that. It's something that we talk about with when we do Kickstarters, poll people for your stretch goals. Like you
Hmm.
want to get people involved in this. They feel a part of the process if you give them a piece of it. So I think it's a really neat way to get a community, get your I was gonna say your backers, but your readers involved in this special edition, and then tell them it's for them, right? A little note in the beginning of your special edition telling your readers why you did this is so powerful, and it
Hmm.
doesn't cost you a thing. It's like one more page. I'll waive that page for you. One more page. I think I just got one more. Um, um, will offering a special edition hurt my regular paperback or ebook sales on other platforms? Oh, I love this question because I got a great answer. I don't know if you've got one too. Can I answer
No,
it?
I'll let you answer because
Okay, because I'm
I
excited.
might have to or
Okay.
you.
You might, okay. So a great answer, and we were up on time, so we're just going to make that our last one. So I love this question for a couple reasons. One, when people buy your special editions, it increases your sales on every other platform. It's wild. So that event that I was telling you guys about earlier, that I did about 3,700 in sales. When I came home, I had the most ebook sales of my year from that event. It was also the most I had sold at an event that year. I don't think I only did 3 events because what happens is readers are over the moon about getting the special edition and they can't wait to put it on their shelf. But at the end of the day, are they going to take that into the bath with them or read at night in their bed with the lights off because their significant other sleeping? Probably not. So they're going to get the ebook. In many cases, they get the ebook and the audiobook. We've got a ton of clients that tell us that their ebook and audiobook bundles do really, really well because people will listen while they're driving and then they come home and then they start reading on their Kindle or their whatever tablet they have. So I think that's really interesting. If you're doing this on your website, do a bundle, do a special edition with your ebook and your audiobook as a bundle. You will be very surprised and impressed with how many of those you can sell because they're going to be like, of course, when you're doing a bundle, you want to give a discount, right? There's an incentive to buy the bundle. But there, people are going to be like, you know what? I wanted that. Like, I'm going to read the ebook anyway because I'm not going to put my special edition anywhere but on my bookcase so I can show it proudly to all the people that come over and visit. And then also too with the audiobook, if you throw that in there, so it's audiobook, ebook, and the special edition, what's nice about that is maybe they didn't want the audiobook or maybe they didn't want the ebook, but they like the bundle and they're like, so what? I'm getting them all. I'm getting all three. So I do think that that's a great way to incentivize purchases because whether you're on Kickstarter, you're on your own website, or you're on the Beventi platform, which you should be on regardless, you want to increase your AOV, your average order value. And how can you do that? So these are just little tricks of the trade to be able to increase that AOV at the end of your sale. So that was a great question to end on. I don't know who submitted that one, but I want to say thank you very much because I am really excited about buyer behavior and what we can do. So is there any other questions before we go? I know we're about 2 minutes over, and thanks for hanging in there with us today. We're so grateful to talk to you and have you guys here. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. Well, listen, just to give you next steps, we're going to keep this recording and we'll be able to send it to you. We know that we had a bunch of people sign up that couldn't make it. So if you did sign up and register, don't worry, you will get this recording and it'll be on our website as well. We can't wait to see you on the Beventi app. Send us a message, say hello, and I hope everyone has a very happy and merry holiday. And we look forward to seeing and talking to you guys again in the new year. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much. Merry Christmas. Have a great rest of your year, guys.